Hello, and thank you for coming back to the table, but I knew you would because this is a really good conversation with Stevie Baggs Jr., who went from linebacker to actor to producer, and the list just goes on and on, but he's also passionate about causes that impact the community, including investing in real estate and sort of changing what the scope of real estate looks like, particularly for people of color.
Absolutely.
Tell me more.
Well, when I was in the league, I had a Land Rover, right? I had a Land Rover Range Rover. I ended up living in my Range Rover because I got cut, got released, got traded. And one of the times I ended up being in that space. And I said to myself, I'll never be in that space again. And so a lot of times we're taught to buy a Land Rover, but no land. And if you want to change the culture, to me, you have to go get agriculture.
Right.
Because if you think about the scope of the world today that we live in, it's up in the air.
Yeah.
You know, what the things that are happening. So I just was prepared.
Well, there'll always be a need for land and what the land can produce. And so your point is to invest in that.
Absolutely.
And make it part of your portfolio.
Absolutely. But not just, it's a social entrepreneurship piece because it's not just about, making money.
Right.
It's about, this particular project that we have that my family and I invest in. It's a family affair too. And I want to talk about that because there's a misnomer out there that melanated people can't come together and do business together, right? And so my mother and my stepfather and myself, we came together and we did this and we're doing this, and it's a beautiful
And what is
thing.
this? Because obviously it's a beautiful layout. This is a mock-up of what your vision is for homes,
Correct.
for live,
so
work, play
La
space.
Maison
What is it?
Estates is going to be in Conyers, Georgia. We're already fully permanent. We're just right now at this point waiting on our first customer.
Wow.
Literally waiting on our first customer. So we're ready to go. But we have, it's a niche. It's a special person that wants to have a glamorous kind of
right. I was
lifestyle.
like, this is not your starter home. This is
oh, no, it's not a
fully
starter home.
invested, beautiful homes.
Yes.
So how do you make the case, especially because you're going to be intentional about being in sort of not inside the perimeter, as we say in Atlanta, but inside the burbs, really moving out where the land is, right? How do you make the case for folks who are like, no, I want to be in the city. The city's where everything's happening.
Well, if you just look at the scope of most city centers in America, the crime is up. You can't grow any of your own food in your own backyard because your HOA may be against that. Like we're for people who want to still live like I said, a luxury modern lifestyle, but also have agriculture and also be able to grow their own food and within the
So when you say that to folks, because not everybody buys a home with that in mind, how important is it for people to understand, especially with the lessons we learned in COVID, how important it is to be able to grow something in your backyard?
It's extremely important. And I think we've lost touch with indigenous ways of doing things and living life. And for me, I've always understood that anytime you're more connected to nature, you're more connected to peace. And for me, and I think that if most people get in alignment and get grounded with that perspective, I think our world would be a better place.
How do you stay in alignment? What does peace and faith and a connection to God and the Creator look like for you?
Well, first of all, like for me, it's my inner work is not based upon faith or belief when it comes to God. I know God is real. So to me, I think that any time a person is just in a box of believing that God is real as opposed to knowing that God is real, to me, that's a different thing. I have faith that we're going to sell all these homes. I believe that we're going to have a good month in business.
Right.
But when it comes to the Most High, for me, I know it's real. And so that's the difference. But I find myself, I'm a cyclist, avid cyclist. I go out, ride 20, 30, 40 miles on my bike.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm disconnected from my cell phone, which we know can be your jail phone at times.
Right.
And so,
I like that,
for me, those are ways that I stay in homeostasis, and I keep my balance and going without helps me stay in balance within.
Biggest lesson that you have learned about yourself in this season of your life? As a father, as someone involved in the community who has walked away from the NFL with no regrets?
I've been saying this to a lot of my friends and family, that the power of release is better than the power of possession. See, a lot of the times, once again, we close our hands and we're grabbing onto something. I was grabbing on NFL, grabbing onto this, grabbing onto that. But when you open your hand, now you can receive more.
Yeah.
But if your hand is, closed, it's hard for you to receive, the bigger, better, and different things that, the Most High may have for you.
Yeah.
And so the power of release is better than the power of possession. I learned that going through, the time this last year with the strike and everything. I learned a lot with that.
Oh, yeah,
premise.
I bet. Yeah, that,
Yeah.
again, focused, made a lot of us kind of think about what we're doing, how we're doing it. Some of these lessons you talk about in Greater Than the Game, right?
Yeah. My first book, Greater Than the Game, it's more of a self-help book. And it was shortly after I had gotten finished playing, and I was trying to find my worth outside of football. And I'm so glad I found it. It's 7 + 1 F's. At that point, it was faith, family, fitness, finance, focus, forgiveness, and football. And football was my 7th F. Journalism might have been your 7th F.
Yeah.
But if you had balance in all of those areas, then you would have a better 8th F, which was your future.
Right.
And so that's what Greater Than the Game was about. And I love that book. But all my author friends said, you're not a real author until you write 2 books.
2 books. And that's
so
how you
that's
wrote.
how Woke came about.
We'll talk about Woke after the break and some of the other lessons that you are really intentional about sharing young people, right? With young people when we return. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey there, Portia here. Listen, that was a good conversation, wasn't it? Want to see the rest of it? Just go to PortiaShow.com, scroll down until you see that particular episode. But listen, before you scroll on out of here, I need you to do me a favor, please. Like, comment, let us know what you thought of that episode, and subscribe. And if you already are a subscriber, we sure appreciate you. In the meantime, we'll be sure to see you on the next episode of Portia, and you can catch us weeknights on Fox Soul as well. Tell your friends. Tell them to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.